to death. Right? Now, how much of you guys saw Elder Ricard's video on the secret spirit of betrayal? That was a powerful lesson. Like, that was a real powerful lesson. But one of the things he said on that lesson was that covetousness can lead not only to death, but to betrayal. So through someone coveting a particular thing or whatnot, a plan comes up to tear down, to take down, to get what you covered after. Okay? Now we're going to look at some examples of this. Now, oftentimes in life, there are things which I desire that really are not essential to our survival. Throughout the scriptures, there are many times where those of our nation were guilty of coveting to the point that it resulted in the death of others. Today, we will speak on some of the examples of coveting in an attempt to identify or edify that we may help others to get rid of that spirit, this spirit. Soon, we will all be without as we draw near to the end. This reality makes it even more important that we address the topic so that we can all avoid the wicked inventions of the mind in the previous perilous times ahead. Coveting was the main downfall of our nation. Now, even when you look back, and what I liked in that the lesson what the elders did, spirit of betrayal, they showed that spirit of coveted, the Most High was really trying to get our attention on this. Why? How did Adam and Eve fall? The Most High gave them everything, but they wanted more. A thought was planted in their head. And through them wanting more, that she saw the tree, that it was beauty to the eyes and beauty to be eaten. That was her coveting. The flesh was coveting to partake in that tree. And it killed us off. It killed man on a whole. Death came into existence. Prior to this, we were made to live forever. So through coveting, death on a whole has plagued all mankind. Well, let's get some examples within our nation. Let's get 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 2.
Done. All right. 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 2. So when you're there, please say con. Second Samuel 11, verse 2. And it came to pass in evening tide that David arose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness. And she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived and sent and told David that, said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down into his house, David said unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down into thine house? And Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in the tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart.
Right, so let's paint the picture on what's going on. So one day, King David's standing on top of his palace, sees Bathsheba bathing, right? That's what sees her bathing and whatnot, and has a desire to have her. Now, King David at this time, if I'm not mistaken, had a good amount, probably 7 wives. So he's good, right? I mean, one, you should be good with one. But I'm saying at this time, we know the men of Israel had multiple wives. So he had 7 wives. And yet seen this sister and had a desire to have more than what was allotted to him. So he went out, they came together, she's with child, and now David, because of him coveting desire and whatnot, she got pregnant, and David now is trying to cover up his actions to get the husband of this woman to go in and sleep with his wife. Go on. So, now on a jokingly note, this is a biblical jacket. So I mean, this is he tried to pass off the child as Uriah's son. That's what he was intending to do. Go on.
So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk.
So he even went to the extent now to even get him drunk. Well, getting someone drunk, that's also sin. Go on.
And that evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote it in the letter, saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die.
Right, so he made a plot to put him in the most intense part of the battle, that he would get killed off. So it started from coveting, and now it's leading all the way to murder. Go on.
And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah into a place where he knew that valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah and the Hittite died also.
Right, so he died in this battle. King David's plan came to play, right? Let's go down to 26.
Go on. Jumping down to verse 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the mourning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife.
Right, so as soon as the time of mourning has passed for the husband and whatnot, David just came and just took her, just married her. Evil. But this is what this spirit of covenant will do. It will make you do things contrary to who you really are. I have seen this spirit in real life, where it has led to friends robbing friends, friends setting up friends to get killed. I've seen this. Go on.
But the thing that David had done displeased the Most High.
But it displeases the Most High. Now let's get some more. Let's get 2 Samuel chapter. Let's jump to the next chapter and we'll go 1 to 19.
Second Samuel chapter 12, verse 1. And the Most High sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him and said unto him, there were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds.
Right? So he had many flocks and herds. He had many women. King David had many women. Go on.
But the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb.
Right? He had one wife that he probably grew up with, whatnot. Let me not go too deep into that part. Go on, though.
Which he had bought and nourished up, and it grew up together with him.
And it grew up together, showing you they grew up together, him and his wife. Go on.
And with his children. It did eat of his own meat, and drink of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter.
Go on.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd, to dress for the wayfaring man that was come unto him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him.
Right, go on.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man.
Right, so when King David heard this, he said, what kind of injustice is this? Go on.
And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that had done this thing shall surely die.
Go on.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, and because he had no pity.
Right, so the judgment that King David had was to kill it, to pretty much execute it. Go on.
And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Most High Power.
So he called to David. After David gave the judgment on what he wanted to do, he identified, said, David, this is you. Go on.
Thus said the Most High Power of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wife into thy bosoms, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
Right? So the Most High is saying, bro, I gave you everything. I saved you from Saul, and I have given you all the kingdom. And if this wasn't good enough, I probably would have gave you some more. But it's a constant theme amongst us. What the Most High gives us, it's not enough. We covet after more. The Most High says he's the one God out of all gods. And yet we started to covet the other kingdom's gods. Coveting is a problem amongst us. Go on.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Most High, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house, and I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of his son.
What verse?
Verse 12.
Yeah. Let's go. We're going to 19. Go ahead.
Come on. For thou didst in secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun.
Right? So the Most High told King David that judgment is coming. First allowed him to take accountability, but also told him that based on this choice and this treachery of coveting, a punishment is coming. That the sword would always be in his house. Go on.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Most High. And Nathan said unto David, the Most High also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Most High to blaspheme. The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
Right now it says, given the enemy to blasphemy. Which enemy is it speaking about? Who would profit from hearing such an accusation against him? Who? Huh? Satan. God. So when we do stuff that is against, and I'm going to say especially here, Satan will go up to the heavenly tabernacles. Oh, look what your servant David did. Give me him. Let me prove him. So by the consequences of our actions, like, you have to understand, Bible says what you reap is what you sow, right? I say, to go along with that mindset of thinking, I lost my train of thought there. No. I get that part, but I'm saying what I was going to say in terms of what we have to understand is for every action, there's a reaction. So when we do something, whether it be good or bad, believe there is a reaction that whether it hit us the same day or whatnot, a year from now, it will come back full circle. That is something we have to understand. So when we go contrary towards the Most High, I'm looking for my beating because I know it's a matter of time before it comes. We always have to take accountability. Can't shy away from that. Right? Go on though.
Verse 15. And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Most High struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought the Most High for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of the house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them. And it came to pass on the seventh day that the child died, and the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead? But when David saw that the servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. Then David rose from the earth and washed and anointed himself and changed his apparel and came into the house of the Most High and worshipped. Then he came to his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat.
All right, we'll stop there. What verse?
That was verse 20.
Yeah, we'll stop there. So David, being a king with several wives, still was not satisfied. He saw a woman and lusted over her to the point his fleshly spirit overran him, and he committed adultery. He then proceeded to have an innocent man killed over the scandal and took his wife for his own. Even though David was alive and well, the sentence of death still came upon his house. So technically, according to the law, King David should have died. But what the Most High did out of his mercy, because his mercy endures forever, he took the child from King David. And he also would later on raise up Absalom, his son, who would come against him and try to kill him. So due to his disobedience, it caused a ripple effect, not only the child dying, but also throughout his whole household. And his son raised up, and what do you think happened to his son? Absalom, because of his rebellion against his father, died. So off of what King David did, he lost 2 children. No. 3 children. Because of the Tamar situation as well. So he lost 3 children off of this one time of coveting. And the things that followed after that. It cost them very much. It cost them much. Right? In fact, I believe, and I'm going to double check this, the later end of King David's life, he wasn't really on the women thing, so to speak. The later time, as his old age, it tells you that one damsel came just to warm him up, and he didn't even touch him. But at this point, he got it. Right? Let's get James chapter 4, 1 to 6.
When you're there, say come, please. In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 1. From whence cometh wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence? Even of your lust that war in your members. Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
Right? And all we really have to do is ask. So we're there coveting, watching one another, doing all these things, cheat one another, whatnot. All the negative things that come with the spirit of coveting. When the Bible just tells us just to ask. Seek and you will find. Seek, what is it? Seek the kingdom and everything else shall be added to you. All we got to do is ask. Go on.
Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust.
Right? So even the time when we do ask, is to fulfill the spirit of lust. And I can sit here and say I'm guilty of that. You know, Most High, give me $1 billion so I could go and buy land for us. But in my back of my head, that flesh side is saying to me, oh, so you could enjoy life. No. Better I don't have that. Thank you, Most High, for not giving me that. Because I realize maybe I don't really want that. Go on.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High?
Go on.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of the Most High.
Simple. Go on.
Do ye think that the scripture said in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he said, the Most High resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble.
Right? So all wars are fought based on someone coveting or someone's covetousness in this world. We are not to be as the world. David was a righteous man, and even though the Most High gave him grace and allowed him to live, he was chastised exceedingly. Right? So when we look at the wars on a small scale, because there's so many untold things going on why they're going into certain places. It starts off as in a desire. They got oil in the land, we're going in the land. They got natural resources in the land, we're going in the land. So it always starts from a coveted. Now we know there was one particular people that weren't given land. So the Most High said, you know what? They will rule by the sword. Now through that, and I'm talking about when you look at conquering and all of that, it was that spirit of coveting that was president. When you look at our downfall as a people, it was the spirit of coveting that was a problem. Some cases, high priests fighting for the position of high priest. Some case, envy, all types of stuff. Right? When you look at some of the movements that were going on, you better believe there was jealousy going on somewhere down the line. Someone had to covet and say, you know what, we need to take him down so I can get that position. This is a reality. This is one of the things that has hindered us and crippled us as a people. 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 1.
In the book of 1 Kings, chapter 21. And there say come, please. All right, 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, like it. And I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Most High forbidded me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him.
Right? So the king of the northern kingdom wanted to go about and buy a field. So he went to one of his servants, said, Hey, I'd like to buy this field. And the servant said, I can't sell you the field. It's part of his inheritance. Now, as a people, we were not supposed to sell our inheritance. Inheritance was not supposed to transfer from family to family or tribe to tribe. The inheritance, and if it was given back in the time of release, time of jubilee. So technically, by default, we should always have a land that came from our forefathers, right? So he didn't want to sell the land. Go on.
Who had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would eat no bread. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and he said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give it thee, my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry.
Right? And this is sometimes what we don't understand, that Satan actually can work through people. As long as you are what I called connected to this matrix, not come to understand the ways of the Most High and live and walk by them, you can be used. So in this case, his wife was used. Satan spoke through his wife. And she said to him, you know what? And I'm going to speak a little bit, bear with me. But she said, yo, big man, you are the general. Nobody can talk to you. You are the king. What the king wants, the king gets. And she planted that in his heart. So now, if you're a man that's not strong, you will hearken unto your wife. Now, am I saying not to hearken unto your wife? No, that's what I'm saying, because we know that our wives are a reflection of wisdom, of the Holy Spirit. But I mean, we will hearken to the evil, to the things that we probably don't even necessarily want to do. But because our wife has so much power over us, and we have not learned to be leaders as men, we say, oh, yes, honey, you're right. I'm going to go out there and I'll get the land. So she became the head. He became pretty much second in command. Right? Go on.
I will give you the vineyard of Naboth.
Hold on. I will give it to you. This is the wife talking. Go on.
I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal.
Right? Men not being men. She took his seal. She's rocking his seal and sealing up letters on his behalf. Go on.
And sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme the Most High and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die.
Right? So through the spirit of coveting, it led to false witnesses being established to take down this brother. So now, starts with coveting. Now we're dealing with bearing false witness. And that's why this spirit of covenant is so unique, because it leads to everything else. You lust, a lot of times lust comes from coveting. So you see something, you want it, you lust after it.
It's technically a line there too.
It falls in line with everything else: the murder, the stealing, bearing false witness. All these things you can find in this category of coveting, betrayal, all of this. Go on.
Verse 11. And the men of the city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in the city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them. And as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them, they proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth hath blasphemed the Most High and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is dead. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, and to take possession of it. And the word of the Most High came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Most High, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Most High, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said unto Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Most High. And behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy prosperities, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisses against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha.
What verse?
We're at verse 22.
Go on.
Baasha, the son of Elijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Most High, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city of the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat.
Right. So the Most High pronounced the judgment on this household. Now he goes, I won't even leave a man to piss on the wall in the house of Ahab. So what does this mean? If he said he ain't leaving at least one man, lack of better words, to use the washroom, be left that can use the washroom. Everybody. That whole household was annihilated, destroyed, every male. And if you realize, the Most High did this with a few of the kings of Israel. I mean, when I say Israel, the northern kingdom. Right? Because there is so much wickedness going on in that kingdom. But what the Most High did here, based on all the wickedness that they did through coveting, the Most High said, nah, everybody. Everybody. So we got to understand that if we don't conquer and curb this spirit, we will curse our household. We will curse our household, believe it or not. Whether that be the body as a household or family-wise. Now, I know I mean, I'm not a parent, but I know parents want the best thing for the children. Let us not put curses through this spirit upon our children. Right? And I'll leave that there, right? Because I know, and when I mean children, I mean the rebellious children. Right? Because the Most High is merciful to those who love him, to the third and fourth generation, but also executes judgment upon those that disobey, that hate him, should I say, onto the third and fourth generation, right? So we don't want, through our actions, bringing down those generational curses, right? But I'll leave that there. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 21.
When there say come, please. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 21. Neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's.
Right? Now, Ahab, I'm going to say, I believe, knew this better than us. He was there in a time where Israel had more of who Israel was, so to speak. Right? But yet, through his actions, he did not practice this. And I'm saying, we got to look at that and say, are we doing the same thing? We read this every week. But yet, the actions have to start reflecting the things we're reading, right? Let's get Malachi. I'm going to get a few more, and then I guess I'll close up. But let's get Malachi chapter 2, and we'll get 1 to 3.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 2.
Sorry. Yeah, Malachi, sorry. Let me read this point, though. I forgot to read this, right? So Ahab and Jezebel had arranged for a setup to bear false witness against Naboth. Not only that, but this was all done as a direct result of Ahab's coveting his neighbor's field, right? Death occurs as a result, and a curse. See, I didn't even read this. I'm going to read this. I didn't even read this. As a result, a curse was placed on Ahab's future male descendants, that they would die and be cut off from existence in Israel. Jezebel also died a horrible death as a result of the actions of coveting Naboth's possession. The covetous spirit was at the core of the wickedness done here, right? Now let's get the next one.
All right, so the book of Micah, chapter 2. When you're there, say come, please.
I'll do a few more. I'm sorry, you gotta get that.
Micah, chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore thus said the Most High, behold, against this family do I devise an evil.
Against who?
Against this family do I devise an evil,
Go on.
from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil.
For this time is evil. Let's get Hebrews chapter 13, 5 to 6.
Right. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. When you dare say come, please. Hebrews 13 and 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have.
And be what?
And be content with such things as ye have.
Go on.
For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, so that we may boldly say, the Most High is my helper, and I will not fear that what man shall do unto me.
Right? Now let's get Philippians chapter 4, verse 11 to 12. And let me read the commentary as we find the page. If we rely solely on the Father, we will have confidence when we are in adversity. That will help us in time of trouble. Covetousness brings thoughts of doubt because it is fleshly, and you can't conceive in your mind how you will sustain because you think in a worldly way how to obtain what you desire. Right? So really and truly, when we operate in that spirit of covetousness, it's really a lack of faith on our part. Because we read every day where the Most High says, I will give you what you need. I will bless you. Trust me. Put what I say, put it to test. If through your obedience, I won't bless you to the point where you will have no room for that blessing. The Most High tells you this. Right? Go on. Get the next one.
In the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 11. Not that I speak in the respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therefore to be content.
Right? So whatever state that I am, I have learned to be content. I have been in high places. I have been in low places. But what I realized through it all, the Most High had my back through it all. Because I learned a lot being in the high places, realizing how off I was when everything was good. But it was the low places that made me realize how much I need the Most High. How much without Him, my joy, my happiness will never last. So through both high and lows, it brought me here. And for that, I'm thankful to the Most High. And I realized if I trust in Him, no matter how bad it looks, He has never left me without food, shelter, and raiment. Go on.
I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed, both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need.
Right? So through highs and low times, learn to be content with where you are and pray continually. Let's get Luke chapter 3, verse 11. I know I said one more. We're almost done. Yeah, man, we're almost done.
Luke chapter 3, verse 11. He answered and said unto them, He that had 2 coats, let him impart to him that had none. And he that had meat, let him do likewise. Then came also publicans to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, Exact no more than that which is appointed by you. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages.
And be content with your wages. So what started to blind the people was they started to covet the finances. And through that, they set up bribes against people. I'm pretty sure people were paying for protection. And you know the thing is, amongst our nation, this still happens. Try setting up something in the islands. I guarantee you, you'll get someone to check you. Talking about a protection money. So this spirit, as I said, has been troubling us and is still troubling us. Right? So Christ told the soldiers to be content with what he was getting paid at work. Basically, right? Many, even when they have more than enough, lose sight of the Most High and chase the dollar and all that comes with making money. They never make claim that they will put the money to a worthy cause, or they always make claim, should I say, that they'll put the money to a worthy cause, but never do. Now, 2 seconds ago, I was talking about, let me leave myself out of it. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 12.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 25. That there should be no schisms in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another.
The same care one for another. Go on.
Whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it.
Go on.
Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it.
Go on.
Now ye are the body of Christ, and members in particular. And the Most High has set some in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles and gifts of healing, helps, governments, diversity of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets?
Right? So now Paul asks this question. So the Most High has set up this body, and everybody has a position. Believe it or not, you will get yours once you learn. Like the Most High says, humble thyself so then he can exalt you. So the first part is humbling yourself, understanding the Most High will exalt you. Believe that. We have so many needs here, but the Most High first has to work on you. You have to understand that, right? Read that part again.
Are all apostles?
Right? Are all apostles? No. Go on.
Are
No. Go on. Sorry.
Are all teachers?
No. Do all work miracles? No. All of us have a position, and we have to be content with that position. I realized everybody wants to be a teacher. Nothing wrong with that. Because there's such a call for people that need to understand this wisdom. But same way how Elder Lawyer can be Elder Ricard, you see what I'm saying? Elder Ricard can be Elder Gabar, and on again. Each one of these teachers understand their position and the importance of operating within that position. We have to learn that as well. We have to really trust what the Most High is doing, because I'm telling you, as I said, I know my forehead's tough, right? But it's not me you're fighting against. Believe it or not, it's the Most High. That's something we really have to believe, right? Go on, though.
Have all the gifts of healing. Do all speak with tongues. Do all interpret. But covet earnestly the best gifts.
Right? But what you should be coveting is, yo, how do I speak in tongues? How do I heal the sick? How do I become the best demon killer? Those are things I desire. I was watching a movie, Japanese, was it? I was gonna, let me not point at you, bro. But I was gonna text you because I know we do the anime thing. But it was Bleach. Now, Bleach is Japanese, and what I like about Japanese, whether or not you guys know, Japanese are descendants of Israel. They are part of us, right? Now, can we say, oh no, I'm not gonna go in there, but we know a remnant of Israel went into Japan. Now, when you watch your cartoons, it's always dealing with heaven, hell, always dealing with these elements. So now in this show that I'm watching now, basically they're reapers, they're demon killers. And I'm saying to myself, yo, like I live in my head. So I'm there saying to myself, bro, I want to be out there demon killer. Like, you know what I mean? I want to be like one of these guys where it's our mission to come and just free people from spirits. Even Ghostbusters, right? But I like those guys because they were just cutting up demons, and they were destroying demons. Let me leave it at that, right? But I'm saying these are the things that we should be coveting. What's going to help our people? What's needed? Those are the things we should really be desiring and looking into. Go on. Read that part again.
But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet shew I unto you a more excellent way.
And Paul shows us a more excellent way. So nothing wrong with having a desire. But let us desire the kingdom. Let us desire the things needed to bring forth this kingdom. So Paul was saying that all parts of the church are important, but desire to have the better gifts, like being able to edify the people. Covet in a righteous manner and desire to obtain which the Father has for those who diligently seek him. Romans chapter 7, and we're going to go to verse 11. So chapter 7 to 11. Chapter 7, verse 7 to 11, sorry.
In the book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Most High forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Right? So lust, he understood lust by understanding coveting. Because as I said, it deals with all of it. Go on.
But sin, taken occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I have found to be unto death. For sin, taken occasion by the commandment, deceived me.
Let us know it was by the law that he knew that lust was sinful. He then lets us know that by the law of sin, he had all kinds of wicked thoughts. Therefore, when the sinful man arises in our flesh, we must step back from it and not partake in its wickedness. Because in doing it, it brings about death. And we looked at a few examples to see that, yes, at the end of the day, when that spirit takes over or whatnot, it leads usually to someone dying. Right? Let's get a closing out scripture. Let's get Romans chapter 13, verse 8.
Book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 8. Oh, no man anything but to love one another.
But to do what?
But to love one another.
Go on.
For he that loved another hath fulfilled the law.
Has fulfilled the law. Go on.
For this thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not kill.
Right? So if you operate in the spirit of love, we're operating and fulfilling the law. Why? Go on.
Thou shalt not steal.
Because we won't be stealing. Go on.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
We won't be bearing false witness.
Thou shalt not covet.
We won't be looking at everyone else on what they have and desiring to get what they have through deceit and all the other stuff that come with that spirit. Go on.
And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended. And this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Go on.
Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Right? So we must love, and this is key, we must love in deeds, not just words. And in the end, overcoming our lust helps us to better love others, as the scriptures defines what love is. Finish strong, because we are at the end, and put down all matters of covetousness of this world, and let us rise as a nation. With that being said, shalom, family. Still most high. Still most high right now. Now, you know, I was speaking to someone earlier, the sister that does our slides and whatnot. And, you know, one of the things that we came to the agreement on was that the Most High really gives us what we need when we need it. Because I didn't even look at this lesson. I was so focused on writing down my thoughts. But after I looked at this lesson, I realized, you know what? It's dead on. It's really, really touching on one of the problems. the spirit of the spirit. Believe it or not, it is amongst us. And it's really, we really have to fight it and purge it out from amongst us. We really have to start trusting one another. We really have to, even for the sake of our trust towards the Most High, believe and work together, even when it doesn't, in our mindset, doesn't make sense to work the way the leadership or whatnot, or myself is saying how we should do it. We really have to, you guys have to trust me, believe it or not. And not for my sake, but for the Most High sake. And pray to the Most High for the right leaders, the right captains, everything to guide this ship. Because I tell you this, if the Most High says, Zerai, I need you to sit down, I'm sitting down and doing everything I need to do from behind the scenes to keep the ship going. Why? I've always been a team player. I used to play sports and 10 stars on the team, and everybody wants to shine and be the star. And I was like, no, okay, you know what? I'll grab the rebounds, I'll play the defense, I'll do the little things to make us win. That has always been me. And I hope the way that I operate, really and truly, I'm not that I do it to set an example, but I know I have set an example. And I hope we can all feed off of that. Not me, but the Most High working amongst the body, working amongst me, working amongst the brethren, and really absorb that and grow. We gotta grow, man. So I will leave that at that. I think I have announcements. Not much. Now let's show you how much it was on my heart. Prayer is needed for the body, that the Most High would root out all evil from amongst us, and that He would remove all the wolves, rebels, and forgive me if I probably shouldn't use those words. I said I was definitely upset this morning. And those that will trouble what the Most High is doing. Let us take this time this week to really pray for the embetterment of the body. Really and truly, brothers and sisters, right? So that's what I have for prayer request. Brother Trevor, yes. Oh, thank you for that, right? Now we did do a small, not even touching on that, but Brother Trevor had an operation this week, right? Please, if you guys can get a chance, just even touch base with Sister Millie. But as a congregation, let us keep Brother Trevor, his recovery, in our prayers. We want to make sure that he has a speedy recovery, and not only that, but also a full recovery. That the operation was successful, right? So let us keep him in our prayers. And let's touch base on those who can touch base with him, and let's just watch the Most High work, right? So with that being said, thank you, Mama Tabitha, for that. Let's keep those things in our prayers this week, right? This week, I think let us just take this week really and truly just to reflect about everything. Let's take some time to really reflect. I know it was my week to do Tuesday. I'm gonna just put that on hold this Tuesday. I really just want us as a body just to reflect about ourselves, self-reflection on ourselves, on where and what we could have done better, and what we need to work on, right? So with that being said, let us pray on out. Not today. I think we done enough singing on the weekend. Let us pray on out. You want to read it? I bet you get it. My mind, I'm probably gonna mess it up. Sisters, cover your head. Men, uncover your head.
Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for everything that came out today. It was much needed. We need to sever up that spirit of division, where it may lie or rest, whatever it may lie or rest with. We thank you for getting us all here safely, especially after the Feast of Tabernacles. And we're all coming from long distance and just dealing with traffic and everything else. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to even be a part of your truth, of your gathering and coming together. We ask that you just strengthen us in everything that we need. Humble us, Heavenly Father. Keep us on that righteous path and just keep us focused on being in unity and one accord. And let nothing sever that from us. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash Hayat, Shimka, Ahaya, Malak Waka, Daba, Ratazawan Ka, Haya, Aisha, Arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashimayim, Nathanawa, Come, Kalyawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kawabwat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawat Yanawa, Wala'a, Tabaya Nawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Kawashainawa, Manraikaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapara, the Iwalumium. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And let us not enter into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Alahainoa, Ahaya, Akad, Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Alahainoa, Ahaya, Akad, Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Alahainoa, Ahaya, Akad. Hear, O Israel, the Most High power is one. Amen. Kwam Yasharala. All praise to the Most High. Brother, thank you. Thank you.